What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our bracketology video for the week. We're doing it actually before we're supposed to in the games that take place during this bracketology. So you will see this on the 22nd before the games are all played. And we're going to get right into it here. We got bracket watch. We got the top overall seed, of course, being Gonzaga. The first team out is this SMU Mustangs. They could, easily get in if they beat Houston this Saturday or Sunday. And the last team in is San Diego State, which is kind of surprising out there in the Mountain West. But, that's a great conference this year and definitely underrated teams as well. Ty, I'll shoot this one over to you. Which teams are the most appealing teams here on the bubble?
Oh, wow. I got to talk about Michigan. I think five quad one games remaining, or four out of the five are quad one, and you're missing Juwan Howard. So who knows what's going to happen there? They're not on here, but I want to talk about Loyola Chicago, actually. So they're in as an AQ, but they would probably be last four in. So that's a team to watch out for if you're, Memphis, San Diego State, teams like that. If they lose in their conference tournament, then that's another bid possibly that's going to be given out, and another team is going to be left out of the field. So that's something to watch out for. And then a lot of Big 12 teams. That's going to be a fun conference to watch down the stretch.
I think in this category, I go North Carolina. We were all wrote them off at the beginning of the year. This team was, terrible. They didn't know how to play basketball, it seemed like. And now here they are, the last four buys. And, a few good wins in the ACC tournament pretty much locks them in the tournament. And Oregon, I think, is a team to watch as well in the Pac-12 because, they do have those three powerhouse teams. And then if they beat one of those teams, more than likely they'll be in because all those teams are top 15 teams in the country. So definitely some good teams to look out for here. But we will move to the West bracket here. I'll start it off. I have Gonzaga going to the Sweet 16, and they'll be playing Notre Dame in the round of 32. Alabama will move on and play UCLA, and Alabama will actually beat UCLA. I'm really not confident in either of those picks because both those teams, you don't know what you're going to get out of them. But I'll go with Alabama here. I think they'll win two in a row. And then they will lose to Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. So it'll be Gonzaga in the Elite Eight on top. And on the bottom, I have Creighton upsetting USC. They are a very surprise team, the Creighton Blue Jays, and USC. Once again, it's a team you don't know what you're going to get from them. And Wisconsin will beat New Mexico State and beat Creighton as well to move to Sweet 16. And then I have Boise State beating North Carolina. I know I just kind of hyped up North Carolina a little bit, but I think Boise State is a very underwhelming team over there. And, people aren't really looking at the Mountain West Conference, but it's not going to matter because Texas Tech is making a run to the Elite Eight. So they will beat Boise State and they will beat Wisconsin to face Gonzaga. And give me Texas Tech here. I know it's not the popular pick taking Gonzaga to the Final Four, but I'm going with Texas Tech.
I like it. You got to mix it up a little. I am also going with Gonzaga and then Notre Dame. They're in the first round. Alabama could easily lose that game, but I'm going to say they scrape by along with UCLA. I'm going to go with Gonzaga over Notre Dame pretty easily. And then Alabama, UCLA, that's a really good 4-5 matchup too. Final Four caliber teams, but I'm going to go with UCLA. They have the experience of being in the Final Four. I'm going to go with Creighton as well over the frauds in USC. They'll move on to play Wisconsin, but Wisconsin should get by them pretty easily. I'm going with North Carolina there over Boise State. But again, like you said, Texas Tech, too much across the board. I think they'll get by North Carolina. That could be a close game there in the second round, but they should get by. So I have the top four seeds moving on here. We'll start with Gonzaga and UCLA. That's a really good matchup. Final Four rematch. I just think you already saw Gonzaga blow them out. You can't pick against them in a rematch. So I got Gonzaga going to the Elite Eight. And then you have Texas Tech and Wisconsin. Good matchup. Should be really low scoring, but give me Texas Tech. Their defense can really shut them down. So I also have Gonzaga and Texas Tech. They already played, and it was a good matchup this year. But I'm going to lean towards Gonzaga, unfortunately. I wish I could say Texas Tech, but I'm gonna go with the number 1 seed in Gonzaga.
And moving over to the South region on the right here, we have Arizona as the 1 seed, a team that really came out of nowhere this year, and has really taken the college basketball world by storm. And they deserve to be there. And they will move on to the Sweet 16 as well. They will be playing Wyoming in the round of 32, and I think that'll be a lot closer game than people will think. But Arizona will move on. I think Texas, Tennessee, Davidson, Chattanooga, any 4 of those teams could make it out of here. And I think Davidson will. I will pick against my preseason tournament champion in Texas. I got Davidson making a run in the Sweet 16. They will play Tennessee in the round of 32 and upset for them as well. So that gives you a matchup of Arizona and Davidson. And Davidson's luck runs out here, and Arizona will move on to the Elite Eight. And then I have your Loyola team that you were talking about. I have them upsetting LSU as a 6 seed. I really don't understand how LSU is still a 6 seed after, them kind of falling off here in the last month or so. Illinois will breeze past Texas State, and they will actually beat Loyola this year, not like last year where they got upset. So Illinois moved to the Sweet 16, and they will be playing Rutgers. Yes, you're reading that right, and you're going to hear that right. I have Baylor winning and Rutgers beating Xavier, and I also have Rutgers beating Baylor because, once again, Baylor losing their center, I think that hurts them in the long run. And we just saw last night that Baylor scraped by Oklahoma State, a 500 team. And it seems like Rutgers can always take it to the AP ranked teams, the high ranked teams, at least these last 2 weeks. And I'm kind of riding that cloud 9 with them. So I think Rutgers will move on here. They will run into a buzzsaw in Illinois with Kofi Coburn. I know that they lost to him once, Illinois, but I think they're out for their revenge here and move to the Elite Eight. So I have Arizona and Illinois in the Elite Eight. And it seems like every video I've been taking Illinois to move to the Final Four. So I got to stick with it here. I think the Big Ten will get at least one team this year to the Final Four just because of how competitive we've seen the Big Ten, even the Big 12 be as well. So give me Illinois.
All right, I'm starting with Arizona, and I'm going to go with Seton Hall over Wyoming, but give me Arizona moving on. Seton Hall could play them kind of tough, but I'm going with the Wildcats. Again, like you said, Pittsburgh, interesting 4 teams there, 2 susceptible teams. But I'm going to go with Tennessee and Texas both moving on. They're both playing pretty well right now, and I'm going with Tennessee going to the Sweet 16. They're coming off beating Kentucky. I know they struggled a little with Arkansas, but they're still a good team. And I'm going with LSU scraping past Loyola, and I think Illinois should easily get past Texas State and LSU to get to the Sweet 16. And then I'm going with Rutgers. I'm going to say they blow out Xavier. They don't just beat them. They wipe the floor with them. And then I think Baylor, unfortunately, gets past Rutgers. They're starting to get healthy again. So, again, I'm being boring in the first 2, top 4 seeds again. But I'm going with Tennessee upsetting Arizona. They already beat them once, and I'm saying they do it again. Just a bad matchup for Arizona. Tennessee has size to match up with Arizona, and they have good guard play, and I think they move on in an upset. And then I have, Baylor and Illinois, and I am going with Illinois in the upset over Baylor. So both the top 2 seeds losing for me. I just think Baylor, the injury to Chama Chachua, who are they going to have to guard Kofi Coburn? I don't think they'll have anybody. So I have Illinois and Tennessee in the Elite Eight, and I'm going with Illinois. Again, Kofi dominates, and Illinois rights their wrong from last year and goes to the Final Four.
Moving down here to the East on the left side, we have Auburn, the 1 seed, and I honestly think this will change before the end of the year because we've seen Auburn kind of struggle these last few weeks here, and there's lots of good 2 seeds creeping up there like Purdue, Kentucky, Texas Tech especially. So you never know here in these next month or so before the official bracket is out, but they deserve to be there right now, and they will lose in the round of 32 to Iowa State. I mean, we were kind of calling them frauds early, and somehow, some way, they're consistently an 8 seed right now. They're winning the games they're supposed to, not really doing too much in the big games, but, they're still racking up those wins. And once again, the team with 2 wins last year is out here probably going to win 20 or more games this year, and pull off a huge upset as well. Because it seems like Auburn is very susceptible to big upsets. Losing to Florida, that really needed to get it. Arkansas, which started them. And I think Iowa State, is going to move to the Sweet 16 and surprise somebody, because it seems like every year there's a team around this time, either in the round of 32 or the round of Sweet 16, where a one seed loses. And I think Auburn's going to be that team this year. And moving to Buffalo, once again, this is a region where I think anyone can make it out of here. But I got to stick with my Friars because I've been with them since day one. So they'll move on to the Sweet 16, but they will be playing Ionia, who will pull off the upset against Ohio State. I just think this Ionia team with Rick Pitino, he knows how to coach in March Madness, and it's a team that no one really talks about anymore once he got hired. So give me Ionia and Providence moving on. So it'll be Providence and Iowa State, the ugliest matchup in the Sweet 16. And you're going to give me Providence because I got to roll with the Friars still. So they'll be making an Elite Eight appearance. And then this is where it gets interesting down here. I am going to have Arkansas beat the winner of that game. I know I want to take Michigan, but I'll take Michigan to win that game, the playing game, but they will lose to Arkansas because Arkansas is just unstoppable, it feels like right now. And Duke will win, and Duke will be Arkansas as well. Duke will be making a Sweet 16 appearance for, it seems like, the 20th consecutive year. In Coach K's last year, it's only right they do so. And moving to Indianapolis region, I have TCU beating Marquette, pulling off the upset. Purdue moving to the Sweet 16. They will beat Colgate and TCU. And then I have Duke, Purdue. This was a tough game for me to pick, but I just don't think Coach K will exit this early. And I got Duke beating Purdue pretty much on a close game. Could go overtime. It should be a one possession game all game. That's how I see this one playing out. So I have Duke and Providence, 3 and 4 seeds. And if this is the case and they play each other, I think Duke has too much talent to lose to Providence. Unfortunately, Providence's luck runs out here, and Duke will be making an appearance to the Final Four.
All right, I'm going a lot different direction here, but I'm gonna have some fun with this region. This is my big upset region. I'm going with Auburn and Wake Forest over Iowa State. I just think Wake Forest is the better coach team. I think Auburn will move on. Could be a tough game, but I think they get to the Sweet 16. I'm going with Ohio State, and they're going to play the Vermont Catamounts in a big upset. Two East teams. Give me Vermont in the upset. Vermont can shoot the ball really well, at least if they have the same team from like 6 years ago when they shot really well. Because I don't know anything about them, but they're pulling the upset. But Ohio State gets past Vermont to face Auburn in the Sweet 16. In Greenville, Michigan is not losing to Memphis. I am sorry. They are not going to lose to Memphis. The frauds, they're the real frauds, and they're not beating Michigan. So Michigan's not only getting through that, they're going to be hot coming off the Memphis win. They're beating Arkansas, going to the second round. Duke gets past Princeton because they don't play in a library in that game. So Duke and Michigan, Coach K's career gets ended. Juwan Howard comes back. He won't punch him in the handshake line, but Michigan gets the win, goes to the Sweet 16.
This guy,
big upset there. Juwan has history with Duke, by the way. And then give me Purdue moving on to face Marquette. And here's my 2-seed upset. Give me Marquette upsetting Purdue, moving to the Sweet 16. I always pick 1 2-seed to lose early. It happened to be Purdue. It's a tough matchup for them. So we got a lot going on here. Give me Auburn scraping past Ohio State. So Auburn in the Elite Eight. And now you got Marquette and Michigan. I mean, who do you think I'm going with there? Michigan playing a 7-seed in the Sweet 16. Give me Michigan. I pick with my brain, obviously. No bias here. So obviously I am going with Auburn to get past Michigan. I can't show my bias at all. So nope. I'm going to have Michigan only making it to the Elite Eight from the first 4. So Auburn goes to the Final 4.
And let us know below which bracket you would roll with in the East so far. If you're going with Ty, him going Auburn, or you're going to go with me taking Duke with all the upsets as well. And we're going to move to the Midwest, the last bracket. Kansas as the 1 seed, most deserving with a big question mark around that. We have Kentucky at the 2 seed in their own region, and Kentucky went into their place and absolutely throttled them. They're up 20 at half, and it's very questionable to me why Kansas is the one. I think it's just because Kentucky just lost to Tennessee, so they're giving Kansas the benefit of the doubt right now. But we're gonna get crazy again, at least to start here. Kansas will make it to the round of 32, but don't sleep on Ja Morant's school, the Murray State Racers, a team that in our rankings is ranked 15th this week and still, getting some love in the AP poll, 18th or 19th, and a team that no one's going to talk about. And here they are sitting as a 9 seed, but they have 2 losses. I don't care what conference you're in. You see Gonzaga doing the same thing. And Murray State's pulling off some big wins here and there. So give me the Racers to make a Sweet 16 appearance and really shock the world here in upsetting Kansas. But we'll get back to normal. We got UConn moving on. I think they'll play Indiana. They'll move on. I have Toledo pulling off an upset against Houston, and this is where Sasser's injury comes into play. Toledo, there will be a MAC team. Whoever wins the MAC, it's either Ohio or Toledo, it seems like. They will pull off an upset in the tournament no matter who they play. I just think that one of those teams is bound to make an upset in the MAC. The best conference in the country is going to show out, but they will lose to UConn. So it'll be UConn and Murray State. And give me the Racers here again. I just think that they're riding that momentum. If they can beat Kansas, they can beat anybody. So they're making an appearance to the Elite Eight. And who will they be playing? Well, we got Michigan State going down to San Francisco. I just think watching those 2 games last week was dreadful for Michigan State in their offense. And San Francisco can score and play good defense. So I think San Francisco has a very favorable matchup there. And Villanova will move to the Sweet 16. They'll beat Wagner and San Francisco. No really issues there. At the bottom, we have Iowa beating Miami and Kentucky moving to the Sweet 16. And so you have Kentucky and Villanova. I'm going with Villanova here. I know that they have 6 losses right now, but 4 of those losses were within the first month or so of the college basketball season when they were still trying to figure themselves out as a team. And since then, they've been a top 5 team at worst, that Wildcat team. So give me Villanova to the Elite Eight to face Murray State, and give me those Wildcats to move to the Final Four. So Jay Wright is, doing something right this year.
Okay, I'm going with Kansas and St. Mary's. Unfortunately, I feel bad now. I didn't know Murray State was going to be in your Elite Eight. I'm going with Kansas to the Sweet 16, regardless. I'm going with Indiana, despite their poor play as of late. I think they get past San Diego State, and I think they upset UConn there in the first round. Not super high on UConn right now. I'm going with Houston, but I think they could have some trouble with Toledo. And I am going with Indiana over Houston. I think that's just a bad matchup for Houston. Indiana can match their size. And so I have Indiana in the Sweet 16. I'm going with Michigan State and Villanova, but I just think Villanova has too much for Michigan State. Their inconsistency right now is not going to get it done in March. I'm going with Iowa over Miami. And I think Kentucky, despite Keegan Murray, I think Kentucky just has way too much talent for Iowa. I think that should be a pretty easy win for them. So you have Kansas and Indiana. I think Kansas gets by them easily. And then you have Kentucky and Villanova. Good matchup, but Kentucky's way deeper than Villanova. So I'm going to give the upper hand to Kentucky in that one. But it could be a close one. And then you have Kansas and Kentucky in the Elite Eight. Obviously, I got to go with Kentucky after they went into Lawrence and blew them out. Clearly, they're not a good matchup for Kansas, so I have Kentucky in the Final Four.
And we have 2 very different Final Fours. It's really been not the case this year, at least, in recent videos. It seems like we've had 2 or 3 of the same teams, but this time it's a different story. So I have Texas Tech versus Duke on the left side, and I think Duke's luck runs out in the Final Four. Texas Tech has really just shown me that they're a better team than a lot of people anticipated, and they beat Chris Beard twice. And if you can beat that, your biggest obstacle twice in the same season, they might play each other 3 times too. And if they, beat them 3 times, I think there's no doubt in my mind that Texas Tech is poised for a run. So give me the Red Raiders to make a run to the championship. And who will they be playing? They will be playing Villanova Wildcats over Illinois. I know the size matchup and stopping Kofi Coburn is going to be an issue, but I think he will get into foul trouble early, and that will cost them. And that's why I'm taking Villanova. So you have Villanova versus Texas Tech, a matchup probably no one predicted at the beginning of the year. And I will go with the Red Raiders to bring it home, a national championship, to really tell Chris Beard that we didn't need you all this whole time. I really am riding that train right now, the Red Raider train. And how can you not, as of late, a team that easily could win the Big 12 conference tournament just because they've been playing well. But I think it's Texas Tech's year to shine.
All right, I got Gonzaga and Auburn here on the left side, and then I have Illinois and Kentucky. So I'll start with Gonzaga, Auburn. I think Gonzaga gets by them. The way Auburn's been struggling lately, and then the two-headed monster of Timmy and Holmgren, I think is too much for Auburn. So I have Gonzaga going to the championship, and then I think Kentucky. If that's the matchup, I think Kentucky beats Illinois easily. What's the answer for Kofi Coburn? Well, for Kentucky, it would be Oscar Tshiebwe, and I think he could lock him down, maybe even outplay him. And if that can happen, Kentucky has way more talent at the guard position. I think they would move on. So you have Gonzaga and Kentucky, but right now, it's not a week ago anymore. I'm going with Gonzaga. I think Kentucky has they showed some weaknesses against Tennessee, so they got to show me again that they can compete before I can have them as my champions. I have Gonzaga.
And that's going to be it for the video today. If you liked it, let us know. Hit that like button. Comment below who you would rock with for the brackets, if you're going with Ty or myself. And make sure you hit that subscribe button to be entered into our giveaway at 100 subscribers. We'll be giving away an autographed item. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.
She never called back.